Hey, what's going on, Los Angeles? Welcome to the Ram Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. Hope everyone had a great week. We're not even going to talk about it, but hey, the election's over, so hopefully we can get back to just seeing football ads. But I don't know. I'm just going to, this is the only thing I'll say about Skinny. I was so looking forward to November 6th because I was like, cool, the election will be over. Get back to like my feeds being like filled with sports. It's almost more right now than it was before the election. I'm like, what's going on? Have you noticed that?
I've just been on a media blackout. I don't want to
Smart.
hear all the hand wringing on the one side and all the celebration on the other side. I'm just glad I get to do this,
Yes.
and distract myself with things that, I heard a great quote. I have no idea who it's attributed to, but it's actually about soccer. But among the things that matter, that don't matter, football matters the most.
Love that.
That's
Love
so.
that.
Yeah,
So
that's where
true.
I
Yeah.
am.
Well, good. Well, how are you, by the way? I didn't ask you. Doing well?
I'm doing good. Yeah. Yeah,
Great.
absolutely.
Excellent. Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully by next week, that'll all be, maybe it's just the shock factor and everything going on. And as you said, so I'm hoping by next week, then all of our feeds will be back to just sports because that's all I follow. So I'm like, why am I getting all this garbage? But on a positive note, I don't care what anyone says out there. We're officially in Christmas season, so Merry Christmas season. It's after Halloween. It's Christmas season. Have you started decorating it? Because I know we are this weekend.
No. No.
Trees going up this weekend, baby.
We do Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving, we put everything up.
Yeah. See, that's what most people do, and I get that. But to me, I wrap Thanksgiving up in the Christmas season. Like Thanksgiving is like so I November 1st is Christmas season, even though it's like Thanksgiving hasn't happened yet, but Thanksgiving is like a precursor to Christmas, but it's already within the season, if that makes sense. So I just love
Yeah.
it. I love Christmas season. So the tree's going up this weekend. Decoration is starting to go up. You can
We are
see I got a
both
little nutcracker already
Nutcracker.
behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're both Christmas heads. I think it's
Yes.
easily your favorite holiday, easily my favorite holiday. You are more so. You watch how many Christmas movies and you've already started
We're
the
like
rotation?
we're like 12 deep already.
Wow.
12 deep.
Yeah. That's great.
I love how So I love cheesy Hallmark Christmas movies. It's like my favorites. Like obviously I love all the classics, Love Actually, Elf, all those. We watch all those too, but I love all the Hallmark and they do like 30 new ones every year. Like it's like this is their time to shine is Christmas season. But I love how in the last year even they've come around and become more popular. Like if you go to Peacock, they have an entire Hallmark section. Netflix now, I don't know if you've been on Netflix lately. Netflix has all of a sudden added a bunch of Hallmark selection and they have a whole section for it. So it's like everyone's coming around that realizing Hallmark Christmas movies is the way to go.
If you say so.
Hey, especially
I stick to my classics. I don't even really try to delve into new ones, but I'll watch like A Christmas Story like 5 times.
yeah, classic. Yeah, always the classics. I usually save the classics for like the week of.
Hmm.
Then I get like Elf, Love Actually, The Holiday, one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. We got a lot of time to get into Christmas movies, but anyway, Rams do play this weekend. Technically not the weekend, Monday night, prime time football. Last time the Rams played on prime time, they dominated the Minnesota Vikings to get the season back on track. So they host the Miami Dolphins, who come in with Tua Tagovailoa back. I'm going to steal your stat because you told me right before the show started, so I'm sure you're going to say it, but I'm going to steal it. 27 points over the last two games, or each of the last two games. So the offense, go ahead.
Oh yeah, yeah, 27 points both games, not combined.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. So the average over those two games. So the offense is certainly getting back on track for this Dolphins team that struggled mightily with Tua out. So the Rams have to prepare for that. But yeah, big game. I mean, this is an opportunity for the Rams to take a step forward. And we've already seen them step forward, get back to 500 and a team that everyone's talking about yet again. But this is a chance for them to really say, we are back and we are now a playoff team in contention as we get healthier. So let's bring up the health first, Skinny, and then we'll get into kind of game preview. Just announced Steve Avila and Jonah Jackson both designated to returning to practice. Does not mean they will play on Monday. However, the way the Rams have seemingly operated lately is as soon as they designate someone, the guy usually plays. Most recently, Puka Nacua. Cooper Kupp was never on IR, but basically announced one day he's finally practicing again, and then he played the next game. So it indicates that both these guys will probably be available on Monday night. Rob Havenstein, we already know, is going to miss this game. And as you so astutely pointed out to me before hitting that record button, Kevin Dotson did not practice on Thursday, so something to monitor there. But just your thoughts on Jackson and Avila. Does he return, and do you think they will play on Monday?
It's a little bit different than the Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua situation. I think as a wide receiver, it's a little easier to come back. There's less coordination that you have to do. You know, we always talk about it. This is the offensive line is a unit. Cohesion means a lot. So I'm still
head banging.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and these guys haven't played football in quite some time. You know, we're going up on, 6, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. So, and there was confusion about who was playing what position heading into the season. They made a switch at the very, very last thing. So, I'll be curious to see, how quickly they're able to get that all working together. I imagine they're going to have a new left guard. Period, hands down, just because I think they need an upgrade at that position. As much as we love USC's Justin Dedich, I think that they need an upgrade. And
not to cut you off, but Joe Noteboom is back healthy as well, so
right.
We could potentially see him there. Go ahead.
Yeah, he may play right tackle. We may see Warren McClendon at right tackle, Noteboom at left guard. So there's lots of different moving pieces around this. Any thoughts on it? I just hope we get to see all 5 of them. That's kind of my last thought, because if Kevin Dotson misses any extra time, but this was what this team was built around. They're spending a whole bunch of money on it. We've hammered that nail deep into the wood at this point. So yeah, that's kind of where I am with it.
Yeah.
What say you?
Yeah. Two kind of, I guess, 1 question for you that we can discuss. On a positive note, I think this has shown, this stretch, that while Jackson and Avila will be definite upgrades, obviously they are the starters. Jackson, they paid a lot of money to, more proven. Joe Noteboom, potentially an upgrade. I think it has proven that they can get by with the likes of Bo Limmer and Justin Dedich, and they have now good depth, because that was kind of the question we had in training camp when all these injuries started happening and they were signing guys off the street. Like, what's the depth light of this unit? Because it's already banged up. This was in training camp, and then now it's remained banged up, and they've seemingly been able to actually answer some of those questions of like, well, we do have some depth here that we can rely on. And, I don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl with this unit if it stays as is and all these injuries remain. But if you need spot snaps, spot starts, they've now proven they have guys that not only can play across the entire offensive line, but can come in and hold their own, which I think is extremely important for this unit for this year, but also moving forward into the years to come. So love what we've seen from Bo Limmer and Justin Dedich in terms of that regard, and they can be truly those depth pieces, not forced to be the starters, especially as rookies. So that's a good thing. My question for you is the Logan Bruss experiment over already? I mean, he came in, got it, a start and a half, 2 starts, and then was replaced by undrafted free agent Justin Dedich. I mean, have we seen our last already of Logan Bruss?
I mean, it's not a good sign that you got replaced. Maybe you got a little banged up, but yeah, I mean, you got to assume that wow. Well, he was a 3rd round draft pick. He was the first Rams draft pick in that draft, but
yeah, it makes it seem worse when like the people say the first overall pick for the Rams, but he was 3rd round. I mean, that's the same as Joe Noteboom, right? Joe Noteboom was 3rd round.
Yeah. I'm going to say yes. I mean, like, obviously, unless there's something that we don't know about injury wise, yeah. I mean, that's over. My question to you is, obviously, Bo Limmer is under contract, but somebody's going to be licking their chops for that guy. Is there a trade in the offseason that happens for that position, that guy? Obviously they want Jackson or Avila there because they're paying Jackson a whole bunch of money to play the position. So it's just something to keep your eye on once the season is over. Is how many people are going to start calling on that guy?
Well, it's a really great question, and I might take the opposite approach on it. Like, I think that he's now shown enough that the Rams can see a future with him. And I was interested. I was looking at Jonah Jackson, who obviously they paid a lot of money to, but this year is the only year where he has any guaranteed money. I mean, next year, cap hit of 14.6 mil, but has zero guaranteed salary. I think the dead money, I think I always get confused by the pre-June, post-June, but it's like drops from 11 million to like 3 million in like dead money with, like I said, the no. So 8 million guaranteed over the life of his contract. And that's all this year. So it wouldn't shock me unless Jonah Jackson comes back from this injury and just absolutely like you see a huge jump. Like, okay, yeah, this offensive line now is best in the league. That obviously changes things. But if it doesn't make a huge jump, maybe they've seen enough from Bo Limmer that they're like, okay, now we can move Avila back to guard like he probably should be. Let's all be honest. Like they moved him. It was, as you said, it's still like who is actually going to play center and guard? Is it going to be Avila and Jackson next to him, or are they going to move Jackson back to center? Like it's very odd. But with Limmer, you know you can have him center and Avila guard, and you have your future there of youth, and you can negotiate those contracts. So I might go that way, but hopefully Jackson comes back healthy and just plays very well, and then it forces him to have a really tough decision at the end of the year. What say you?
Yeah, I mean that's what McVay calls a champagne problem right there.
Oh yeah.
Either way, you know, if they can move on from Jackson without it costing a whole bunch of dead money, you know, they love guys on rookie contracts, you know, and
sure do.
You know, that would be 2 year starting offensive lineman. It brings your cost down and it opens up a thing that you could go out and get, you know, a defensive player or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but knowing Les Snead for how great and as genius as the chess player Les Snead is, he'll probably give Bo Limmer like an extension next year. He always seems to do it like way too early. So he'll be in his second year of his deal. And like, let's give you a 5-year deal now. Let's extend you.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, good. That would be a good problem to have. And so I'll just ask you this and we'll move on. Do you think Jackson and Avila or one or the other, do we see any of them on Monday night? Or do you think they're still a week away? Just a guess. Obviously, we don't know for sure.
I'm who I think they'll have one of them play left guard. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know whoever's most healthy. They were both limited in practice. At least they were back to practice. That's a good sign. But yeah, I think from what I remember hearing, Jonah Jackson's a bit further in his rehab. They have 21 days to bring these guys back before making the decision to send them back to IR or put them in a game or put them on the active roster. So that's my guess.
Yeah, I could see either one too. I think it would make sense to bring one back and not both because of everything we just said. The fact that Bo Limmer has played pretty well at center, you can bring one back at guard and unless they're both 100%, but it doesn't seem like. But not that social media posts mean anything, but Steve Avila did have the caption "New knee, new me," as he had a giant grin on his face at practice. So if that's any indication, Steve Avila is going to be starting on Monday night.
That's a statement that I think like an elderly cyclist would post. I don't know how I feel about it, but he also did the Kevin Nash, jumping out of the wheelchair for the WWE fans. So
that's great.
He's a funny guy. Like I had the chance to observe
him,
right? I said what's up, but I observed him. He hung out with the comms team like all night once. I asked one of the persons on the comms team, did Steve like hang out? And she was like, yeah, he like came to dinner with us.
I love it.
I guess
he seems like just a jolly guy. I mean, the offensive linemen are like the most, they get the least recognition, but in reality, they're like the most fun guys on the team.
They're either like bookworms where they're like super smart or they're, just jolly go lucky guys. Like,
oh, dude.
Andrew Whitworth, his post playing career, who would have thought like, media, commercials. It's awesome.
Yeah. When was the last? Well, there's been quite a few, I guess, offensive linemen that have made the jump to me. I was just saying that when's the last like figurehead in media been an offensive lineman? But there's been quite a few, I guess. Tony Siragusa did a bunch. Mike Golick, I guess there has been quite a few that I'm even blanking on some. It's always interesting because you see them on the field and then they just all slim down as soon as they retire. I mean, Jason Kelce right now obviously is doing his thing too, and Jason Kelce is bigger than just about any other athlete out there. So, but I think it is definitely in the last decade shifting more where people are like, man, these offensive linemen are fun personalities. Like, we don't know them on the field, but then as soon as they get off the field, it's like, these guys are great. Speaking of really, really fast story. When I played football in high school, not well, but when I did play I was on the team. Our offensive linemen, great guys, friends with all of them. Back then, Buffalo Wild Wings used to have a daily special, $10 all you could eat wings.
Ooh.
So sad it's gone. I mean, now I can't even eat. Now I eat like 8 wings and I'm full. Back in my heyday, guess what my max number was? Me, you've seen me, 5'7", fairly slim, I like to say.
24.
I threw down 47 wings once.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Yeah, I was also working out a lot. But anyway, so our offensive line we'd go every Tuesday. And I was one of those guys that I tried to be friends with everyone. So I didn't stick to just like receivers, which is what I played. So the offensive line would go, and it was like me and like one other tight end. So we'd all go hang out and have all you could eat wings during the summer after our morning practices. One guy I'll never forget, he was going for 100. His goal was 100 wings. And the thing was there, you couldn't order until you finished. They'd bring you 6 at a time. So you couldn't order until you finish your 6, obviously. So he was at like 96 or 95 or whatever and like struggling. You can imagine 95 freaking wings. Orders the rest, finishes the 100th wing, gets the bone down. As soon as he puts the bone down, hurls everywhere on the table. I've never seen a waitress so upset in my entire life. Especially, I mean, think about it. These are high school kids that aren't going to tip anyway. So you're already getting a crappy tip and have to give like service to a bunch of Neanderthals that just throwing down wings. Then you just sold 100 wings to one person. I think as a collective unit, we threw down like almost 2,000 wings that day. And then he threw up all over the table. It was, offensive line. Gotta love him.
How much was the deal?
Well, I mean, it's $10 a person. $10 all you can eat.
And all you can eat. Wow. Yeah.
All you can eat for $10. I think I got like a Mountain Dew, so I paid like $12.50.
That's disgusting.
Now you go to Buffalo Wild Wings, you get 10 wings. It's like $48. It's crazy expensive.
Yeah.
I still love it though. I'm a big B-dubs guy.
I love wings, period. Wingstop, anything.
Yeah. I'm not any wings are good, but most people lean Wingstop. I still lean B-dubs. I'm old school. Still a B-dubs guy.
Good commercial, Jason Gales.
Yeah, there you go. So B-dubs, if you're listening, A, sponsor the show, sponsor the network. We'd love your sponsorship. B, bring back all you can eat wings for lunch. That place is a ghost town at lunch. You need people in there. Bring back all you can eat wings.
Love it. Let's do it.
All right, so we'll see. We get the back. Let's get to this preview here. What have you seen? I guess in some of your research and whatnot. I just love putting you on the spot because you always answer so well. But I guess the identity of this Dolphins kind of offense. You know, we know about the speed. Devon Achane, Tyreek Hill. Why am I drawing a blank on Waddle? Jalen Waddle. We know about the speed. Tua Tagovailoa, as I mentioned, is back, so that certainly helps things. This Rams defense has looked impressive in some areas. Obviously, the pressures, the pass rush, the youth, but it struggled in other areas. So what are you kind of seeing in this matchup of Dolphins offense versus Rams defense?
Yeah, I think, Miami's offense, we haven't seen what it really can be. Now, they put up 27 points against a Bills team. That's good. I mean, their defense isn't their hallmark, but they pushed that game all the way to the end. It's a divisional game, so it's always a little bit of weirdness in there.
Yep.
The one thing that I came back with, we mentioned all these weapons. There's actually two things. They have a fullback on their roster. Not a lot of teams have a fullback.
Heyo.
So the San Francisco 49ers obviously have a fullback, one of the best in the league. Kyle Juszczyk, Mike McDaniel, also in that tree. So they've got a guy on there. His name is, close that window, go away. His name is
Alec Ingold.
Alec Ingold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's, that's something that I'm watching now. It was up until this week. The Rams run defense looked spotty at best against Seattle. Really good 4th and 1 stop, good stuff there. But I still have questions in that way. And especially when you get another blocker in there. So the fronts that they run are 5-man fronts, lots of one-on-ones. And this is something that Nate Tice pointed out. I don't want to get accused of stealing his point here. But you get Alex Ingold into the second level, And Devon Achane can go. I mean, this guy's got speed, and they got all sorts of backs with speed on that roster. So that's
the
definitely
Colonel,
the Colonel.
Raheem Mostert,
They call
Colonel
him the
Mustard.
Colonel.
No,
Oh,
it's my nickname for him. Colonel Mustard in the lavatory with the lead pipe.
I love that. I've never heard that one before.
The Colonel, yeah, Raheem Mostert. So sorry, you're on a roll there.
And then the second one that I'm looking at is Tua Tagovailoa's under pressure stats. He has a 66% pass completion percentage when under pressure this season. No, 64. And 68 when against the blitz. So this is just like we know what this defense can do from a pressure standpoint. But I'm worried about explosive plays, because that's what we saw against, when Minnesota was able to move the ball, that's what they were hitting, big chunk plays, and then Geno Smith was just carving them up with the same things. So that's, I mean, I'm definitely on the side that the Rams should be favored going into this game. I haven't looked at the over or the lines for this, but I think they should be favored heading into this game. I think it's a better team. But when you get like kind of some of those big high variance, explosive passing plays and running plays, if they're able to do that against the defense, that's one way that Miami could actually upset the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. Just knowing his history, what Tua's percentages against pressure. I mean, you would think, not to make a joke or make light of his, physical health with the concussions, but you would think after those he would have like some happy feet and some, some, I guess, reserve and hanging on to the football or whatever. So it's impressive that he's able to still complete passes at that clip with pressure bearing down on him. So that'll be the biggest thing, is this Rams defensive line has been fantastic with pressures and did get home quite a bit against Seattle, which was a great improvement. But can they keep that up and not just get pressure, but actually get home and bring Tua down? Because obviously I think that could be a game changer. And, this secondary, regardless of what everyone thinks about Tua and whatever, I mean, we know these receivers are pretty elite with Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And Hill, since Tua went down originally, I can attest to this because on my fantasy team, has been fairly non-existent this year. It just shows again that the receiver position is so contingent on who the quarterback is. But as Tua gets healthier and they get back in rhythm, I mean, he is arguably the best receiver in football. I mean, he's for sure top 5, no questions asked. And so that's a guy that, who are you going to put on in this secondary, and who is fast enough to keep up with him in the secondary? And it forced you to play probably too high safety just to keep him beneath you and not let him get over you for those giant explosive plays. We saw a lot. And I think we kind of saw that last week in Seattle, is they didn't want to let the big 60-yard touchdown go, but they were giving up the 30 and 40-yard chunk plays to Jackson Smith and Jigba and others, because they were leaving like that base of the field open to not let things go over the top. So that's what I would look for, is how much of the Dolphins going to try to expose those areas, the 30, 40-yard plays, instead of just going for the home run. Because I think the Rams will try to eliminate the home run, but can they slow down those, like you said, those 20, 30, 40-yard chunk plays from the trenches to the, safeties in the back end. So no easy task, but we've seen this Dolphins offense definitely, even with Tua back, it is not what it was right when McDaniel got there. Remember when he took over, they were the talk of the town. They were the talk of the NFL, like his offense, how fun it was. They put up 70 points against the Broncos last year. 70. And since that game, though, a lot of teams have kind of figured them out a little bit. They're still good and dynamic and whatnot, but they've definitely come down from their perch a little bit. So how will the Rams be able to expose that, or, contain that, if you will? Now I'll toss it over to you, or go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to ask about, or kind of bring up the point of zone versus man, and, trying to cover guys like Waddle and Tyreek with zone pressure, which is, you got to lean that way just because of the speed. They're going to beat guys off the line 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
But then you're leaving a lot of ground to cover. And, I think this is going to be an offensive battle. Rams only 2.5 point favorites, home favorites at 2.5 points, but the over under is set at 50.5.
Yeah.
So
50.
everybody's expecting this to be an offensive battle. And I think that's right where it is, because despite all the injuries to this offensive line, the Rams offensive line, there's no pass rush. There's no pass rush coming from the Dolphins. Their pressure rate's okay. It's kind of middle of the road, so they're doing what they can with. But they don't have no Bradley Chubb, no Jalen Phillips to deal with. I was looking at the depth chart a little bit ago. This has nothing to do with the pass rush, but they have a guy called Storm Duck. That's their
Storm Duck. I missed that.
Storm Duck. Yeah.
No way. What does he play? What is he even? Oh, he's
a second string cornerback, but that's a terrible football name, but I like it.
Storm Duck playing for the Dolphins. Went to Louisville.
But Jalen Ramsey reuniting with the Rams.
Haven't even brought that up yet. Jalen Ramsey's first game back at SoFi after being traded to the Dolphins. Who has a better game, Jalen Ramsey or the tight end we got in return, Hunter Long?
Well, I was calling for Hunter Long to be traded before the trade deadline just to get something out of him, because we're not getting any production. Really,
Hunter Long revenge game. Here it is. Here's his revenge game on the Dolphins for not seeing what they had in him.
Yeah, I'll say that even at the ripe old age, Jalen Ramsey has a better game just because he's going to be on the field.
Yeah, but it would be poetry if we get a red zone look. Hunter Long out there, Jalen Ramsey covering Hunter Long from the slot, and Hunter Long goes up and gets the touchdown.
I love it.
That'd be poetry right there.
Yeah, definitely. It's something.
Yeah, so, you mentioned the lines. I forgot to mention earlier, great transition. Those lines brought to you by our friends at BetOnline. Head to betonline.ag today. Tell them the guys at the Rams Skinny and the LAFB Network sent you. All the best betting lines, all the best game odds can be found. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. Quickly, you already kind of alluded to it. We can talk the offense against the defense. They do have that strong secondary with Jalen Ramsey, but no real pass rush to speak of. So, I mean, if you're the Rams, if you can run the football and establish the run early, that's just going to open things up even more for this passing game that, by all indications, will have both Kupp and Puka Nacua. We haven't heard Puka Nacua on the injury report or anything since that scare last week. And he should be really healthy after sitting out the second half of last game. So should be good to go there. And but I think if they can get that run game going with Kyren Williams against that kind of very moderate defensive line, it can open things up for Stafford in the passing game, and they can attack some of those weaknesses and stay away from Jalen Ramsey, because I think he's had kind of a down year a little bit, but he's going to be up for this game. He's going to be playing as good as he can. And they do have Jordan Poyer on the back end, former Bill, who's very capable as well. Kendra Fuller, it's been kind of up and down. But I think they can get the job done as long as they establish that run game early.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, the struggles that they're seeing in the secondary is based on the struggles that they're having in the trenches. If you're not getting pressure, quarterbacks are going to take advantage of that. It makes all cornerbacks look terrible, and then people start throwing them under the bus for a problem that's happening 20 yards in front of them. But the secondary is interesting. I think there's just been some variance there. Like I said, the pass rush is just not getting home. So yeah, I expect this to be an offensive battle. And I think that the talk of the town this year has been this young, feisty Rams defensive front, leading the way with Jared Verse, who's everybody starts getting those comparisons about Aaron Donald, and he hasn't played a full year yet, but it's been so much fun to watch. And this may be just hopping back. I'm kind of going all over the place again, but it was a point that I wanted to make was, once you get all your offensive line back, does that open up that passing game from the backfield for Kyren Williams, that he doesn't have to be in protection quite as much as he had been? We pointed out a couple of weeks ago that, there was a couple of reps that he had that he was basically on the line of scrimmage to help out Dedich and Limmer. I can't remember what game that was. I think it might've been Raiders, because the Raiders were able to get a lot of pressure, and they were, Max Crosby and whatnot. So I think, I'm leaning that the Rams defensive line is going to be kind of the difference maker in this game, and they're going to be able to get enough pressure on Tua, who's a more mobile guy than Geno Smith. But that's where I think they're able to take this game home.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because we've been saying that a lot. Like, how can they get Kyren Williams more involved in the passing game, because he brings that element that we haven't seen since really Todd Gurley. And so, but it might just be they've needed him in pass protection when he's not running the ball, because the offensive line hasn't quite been strong enough. And if they get those two main starters back, will that be the difference maker? So that's a great point. We'll look out for that, and obviously keep everyone posted on when we officially hear if Avila or Jackson or both will be a go for Monday night. It helps having the extra day, certainly.
So one quick stat. I didn't know this, just looked it up. Kyren Williams has 84 pass block reps. That's number one among running backs. It's 24 more than Zach Charbonnet, who has 60. Wow.
24 more than the nearest one. Wow.
So you think about Blake Corum, how he's not been used. They're relying on Kyren Williams, and if you're in pass blocking, you're not catching the ball. You got a linebacker up in your mug.
Yeah, great point. So, last thing, and then we'll sign off, and it might be the most important thing we talk about today. Is Braden Fisk the best looking defensive with a tinted visor since Ray Lewis?
I haven't given any thought, but I love a tinted visor. Yeah. I do aesthetically, he looks like a Madden knockoff. Like Madden tries to look like very realistic. Yeah. He looks like a football player in a video game. That he needs to. I think he needs to bring back a neck roll. I think.
Oh yeah, like that sweater you're wearing. Put that under your shoulder pads.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be anything real. Just stick something under there.
Yeah, but looks fantastic, and he's played fantastic. For all the praise that Jared Verse has gotten, and rightfully so, Fisk has almost been as good from the interior. And again, we're not making any comparisons, but if there's a player that might garner more stylistic comparisons to Aaron Donald, to be Fisk, because they play in the inside and what he's able to do against double teams. And I think it Giff Smith that basically said he's like the sack assist king, because he's setting up a lot of people for sacks, but he's not actually getting them, because he's not only taking on double teams, but throwing guys out of the way and freeing them up. Like he had that one on Geno where he just was like wreaking havoc and fell into him like backwards. And then I think it was Verse or Young that ended up cleaning it up with the sack, but it's been fantastic. And the visor just adds to the superhero that he's been.
I love that. I did not see that Giff Smith quote. I'm going to have to go find that out.
I think. Hopefully I'm correct. Someone said it. I think it was Giff Smith. We'll look for it anyway. So anything, score prediction? You want to go ahead and drop that? I feel like we didn't do a preview game last week. So here's your chance.
Yeah. I'm going to say it's 30-24.
Rams.
I
like the Rams in this one too. You said the spread was only 2.5.
Yeah.
I like the Rams better than that in this one. So you go 30-24. I'll go 27-20. Rams win.
I love it.
There we go. Get back. Do the Cardinals lose so the Rams can take the division lead? Does that happen?
I don't even know who they're playing.
I have no idea who they play. On the spot.
Well, I saw a really great breakdown. That could be a win. Certainly, it's winnable. I think the Niners are probably going to beat the Bucs just because of how bad the Bucs defense has looked, and they don't have their big two offensive weapons back. I don't think so. It's going to be it's going to be tight all the way down. I think, guys. So all they got to do is win, win.
Just win. So all right. Well, they start by winning on Monday night, as we say. We'll be back. All weekend with our coverage and back during the game on Monday. So thank you all for hanging out with us. This is the Ram Skinny here on the LAFB network. If you are watching on YouTube or if you're not watching on YouTube, either way, please subscribe to the channel. Rams LAFB is where you can find it. LAFBnetwork.com is where all of our Rams coverage, plus all of our LA sports coverage. We are launching Dodgers, Lakers, Clippers, and the rest of LA sports on LAFBnetwork.com. And if you're on podcasts, just search Ram Skinny on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. For Skinny T, I'm Ryan Darrett. Everyone have a blessed weekend. Enjoy some football, some stress-free football on Sunday before watching the Rams on Monday. We'll talk to you all then.